My name is Dr. Denise DuPree. I have my doctorate in acupuncture and oriental medicine, and I'm the administrator and part owner of Homewatch Caregivers of St. Pete Beach, which is an at-home caregiving agency. Kindness can transform someone's dark moment with a blaze of light. You'll never know how much your caring matters. So today I wanted to talk about strategies for aging in place and caregivers. Aging in place. What does the term aging in place mean? It's a term that we're using more and more to describe seniors living in their homes with their needs and capabilities being met. It's really when the capabilities and environment are a successful interaction. Aging in place is the preference for many seniors today, especially after COVID, when many families took their elders out of nursing homes and assisted living and brought them home to stay with them. What are the social and health advantages of aging at home? One of the main ones is your attachment to place and familiarity with your neighbors and your neighborhood and your community. It's very, very, very important as we age to have familiarity. What are the important attributes of good health? Independence, feeling safe, being familiar with your surroundings, staying close to family and friends, companionship, worried about losing your identity, and utilizing available help and opportunities to use your brain. There are the three types of dementia. The early stage is when you can live in your home independently. You start to lose your memory of places and maybe people. Maybe it starts interfering in your work and daily life. Then the middle stage is what we know of as the longest stage. And this is when personal care and caregiving is needed. This is when you start to get lost or worried, you lose your memory of your history, where you went to high school, maybe your friends from a long time ago, or your phone number, or your address. And then the late stage is when you're probably going to need 24-hour care and it becomes more physical and you start to lose your ability to walk or incontinence, and you are susceptible to infectious diseases. The Alzheimer's symptoms, there's a big stigma when we get diagnosed with dementia. And it can cause seniors to feel isolated, embarrassed, ashamed, and very alone and useless. They sometimes feel they don't have, usefulness anymore. There's a rising prevalence of dementia. As of 2020, at least 6.5 million adults greater than 65 are believed to be living with Alzheimer's in the US. Worldwide, at least 55 million people are believed to be living with Alzheimer's disease or other dementias. And the map shows where prevalence is in the world. There is a lack of research in the home environment. There's a rising prevalence of adults aging in place, and actually little is known about the health and social characteristics of the home dementia population, because most research has been done in nursing homes and ADLs or assisted living. What are some of the unique challenges of dementia? We want to rethink dementia as we know it, and getting advanced research in the home environment, because what we're finding out is seniors are aging healthier and having a better wellness in their home. And this will lead to a better understanding how to age in place successfully. Helping family members and caregivers who support older adults understand the complexities of dementia and aging in place. Education is huge in order for aging in place to be successful. When a loved one, either a sibling or a spouse, and their loved one gets dementia, they start to have role reversal. And that means that if you're a sibling, all of a sudden you become the adult or the parent. And if you're a loved one, then you're becoming the parent. And it's very difficult for someone caring for someone they love with dementia when they don't understand kind of the progression and how it's going. Loved ones who are caring or living with someone they love with dementia, there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of role reversal. And it doesn't always have to be frustrating and stressful. You know, I think as a caregiver, you want to make sure that you take care of yourself too, and you have time away. Dementia is a call for all of us to be more patient in a busy world. And so patience, you will have so much more success. Imagine being able to enjoy your loved one's company and build happy, joyful memories in this chapter of life. Dementia doesn't always have to be as hard and frustrating. So there's home care agencies in USA. We actually own Homewatch Caregivers, and all our caregivers are background checked and they're trained, and we send out a nurse to help navigate safety and care plans and monitor the caregivers in the work environment. It's very important that we as an agency treat every single client or patient of ours individually. So the care plan is very individualistic. We provide the guidance both to the loved one caring for a person living with dementia and the person living with dementia and the caregiver. So we're out there, we're monitoring, we're making sure that, you know, the success that the caregiver who we send out there is working with the family and being part of that family. We provide community courses to help the community age in place with a person living with dementia. So we invite the community to come and have our talks with our nurse and myself. And we provide an analysis of the safety of the home and individualized care plan. And then we also provide community resources that help engage the person living with dementia. Community resources are a big one. What should you expect as dementia progresses? You expect memory loss, of course, emotions, sundowning, frustration, behavior, changing behavior, agitation, not being able to communicate your needs, incontinence, sleeplessness, forgetting to eat, being lost, not able to find the bathroom or bedroom or familiar places. They might experience paranoia and repetitive speech or actions. Sundowning signs and symptoms. We educate our caregivers and the person who is caring for their loved one that sometimes it's sundowning. Take them outside, change their environment, because then you can prevent some of the sundowning symptoms that happen naturally. Some of the helpful suggestions for working with people who have dementia in their homes. Every dementia patient reacts differently. So never take anything personally. That's a big one, and that's a real hard one for a caregiver or a loved one, is they think that the reaction from the person having dementia is their fault, and it is not their fault. Communicate with them, ask them stories. Don't think it's yourself. Don't argue, don't disagree. Go with it. Reassure them, help them calm down, change their environment, validate their stress. That's a big one too. If they're getting stressed, then you sit there and say, I see you're getting stressed. Let's change the conversation, or let's go in the other room. Don't miss clues, prevent, don't distract or redirect. It can make them angry. And before, we used to redirect. It was a big thing to redirect them like, a child, but they get in this loop in their brain, and redirecting them can invalidate them. So, try and read the clues and the cues that you can actually prevent certain things from happening. You can also buy duplicates of things they frequently misplace or accuse you of. A lot of times when you're caring for someone, they might accuse you of taking their keys or their wallet or things that they commonly misplace. And if you have a double set, you can sit there and say, here's your wallet, and have them help you find it. Turn it into a story. Elderly people are natural storytellers, and they love telling stories, and their stories might be very different from yesterday than today. For example, my grandfather came to live with us, and he was in his 90s, and he had dementia. And he used to tell us, he was in World War I, and he used to sit there, and before he used to tell us his stories of World War I. But when he had dementia, he would come dressed, he'd have like a neck brace, and he'd dress in some kind of army outfit or a hat, and he would tell us the wildest stories. And my mom would sit there and say, well, that's not true. And we loved it because we were kids, and it was great. Every day was a different story about the war. Whether it was true or not didn't matter. He became a great storyteller and very fun. We need to educate everybody who cares for others in dementia. We also need to do frequent hands-on training and check-ins for success. It's really important for the caregivers to know that you're helping them succeed in their job. And then again, it's not the caregiver's fault. They just need to go with where the person living with dementia is going. A lot of times it can be a kind of fun journey if they let it be that way. What are some practical strategies for aging in place for older adults with memory loss? The right information, ensuring care plans are individualized and based on values and goals of the person living with dementia and their family and friends. It's very important that we don't change their beliefs and their values. We appreciate them, and we educate and base all the care plans on their individual values and goals. The right support systems are in place. So if a person living with dementia and their loved one is very, very tired and frustrated, then you get a caregiver, a professional caregiver trained to come in and relieve them. That the right systems are simple systems in place for caring. Simplicity is very good. It doesn't confuse. Connect with the person, communicate, and make meaning with the senior. Make stories, make art, make them creative, because I think a lot of what we're learning is that that part of the brain is becoming alive, and the more linear memory and all that is going down. So create. Seniors like to create. Ask open-ended questions. Get them talking and accept all responses. Creating a safe environment. A big one is preventing falls. You want to prevent falls. Once a senior has a fall, their health goes down. Use locks. We actually can go in there and you use locks on the kitchen, cabinets. If they're a wanderer, then you can do a lock up above the door that they can't figure out how to do it, and they get used to it. Check water temperature, make sure that their water isn't very, very hot. Check household appliances frequently. A lot of our clients don't use the stove, so we have to make sure that the caregiver makes sure that the stove isn't actually turned on accidentally or brushed against, and take all fire safety precautions as well. And there are tips to make home dementia friendly. Remove clutter. You don't want clutter. Use contrasting colors, but keep patterns minimal. So I was reading about this woman who said that when she started to get dementia, she would go into a bathroom, and if it was all white and a white toilet and a white sink and a white door, she couldn't decipher in her brain where the toilet was or where the sink was. And so she painted the sink pink, and it clicked in her brain. And so she also did that with her doorknobs for different colors to go into her bathroom. And I thought that was fascinating, that it was colors that clicked the memory of what that was. Leave doors open and make simple signs. The bathroom, make them big, large, so they can read them. Add easy to understand clocks and calendars, big clocks, and calendars that aren't filled with everything, all their doctor's appointments and everything that's too confusing. Make it very, very simple. And add photos or keepsakes that evoke positive memories. Elders like to look through photo albums. They like to look on their walls of their family and friends and their life. And even, this is something we tell the caregivers, even if you have to look at that photo album 10 times in one day, it is making your life so much easier, because you are actually making a memory with them. And that is a hard one for caregivers to understand, that to them it might be boring, but to the senior it is not. And suggestions for interacting with older adults residing with dementia in their homes. Reduce frustrations. Let them guide you. Be flexible. Involve the person. Don't sit there and, remove yourself from them. Be part of their activity and their daily life. Provide choices. So for getting dressed, you've taken out most of their things in their closet, but you have 3 shirts and 3 pairs of pants or skirts. And then you can give them a choice. If you had 10, they can't do that. But if you had 2 or 3, they're very happy to choose one. Provide simple instructions, even standing up. Sometimes it's a very simple thing. You don't just lift them up, you have them do it. and you give them simple instructions, to turn, hold on to their walker, and reduce distractions. So if you are out in public and you are seeing that the person living with dementia is starting to get frustrated and starting to have physical, things that are starting to get annoyed, you remove them from that because it becomes too much for them. And these are some resources. There are many, many resources that we have, and that we have a whole book of resources for our families. And this is just some of them. Thank you. Any questions?